Hey, it's your boy Wallace, the Nomad Recruiter. I make videos about traveling and making placements as a recruitment consultant. I'm actually a recruiter and a recruitment coach. So if you're looking to start a recruitment agency, make sure you check out nomadrecruiters.com. I teach you how to start your own recruitment agency if you're looking to get started. You can also download a free copy of my ebook, Travel the World and Make Placements. And then also check out my free training, my recruitment agency book as well. So look, we're going to jump straight into it. I want to talk about things you should do before you quit your job, as it is a recession and times are hard. So I want to just give some advice before you guys, make a rash decision. But we're going to start off about you just, making a spontaneous decision, just up and quitting. Look, before you do that, I need you to think about every expense you have before you make a rational decision and just up and quit your job. Ideally, I would advise you to have 6 to 12 months of all your expenses saved and 6 to 12 months of insurance policies saved as well, so that can be covered before you do decide to quit. But most importantly, I would strongly advise you, just due to the current state of the economy right now, to make sure that you have another job secured before you transition and go to, before you quit your job. You want to make sure you have another job secured, most importantly. I cannot stress this enough in a time like now, especially being that it is so hard to secure jobs due to the state of the economy, depending on your space and depending on your niche. So it's very important that you understand that. Starting off with number 2 as well, one of the biggest reasons, and studies show this for sure, that most people leave their job is because they're not being paid enough. So do not be afraid to sit down with your boss and ask them for a raise. Make sure you go to that meeting with a lot of information about your performance, about why you deserve a raise. Do your research, ask for a raise, because it's extremely important. Sometimes people leave and they don't even ask for it. And then sadly enough, a lot of jobs do end up offering a raise, but it is sad that a lot of employees have to go ask them for it versus you just, as a good boss, just giving it to me. Especially during a time like now when inflation is just so high, we are seeing a high turnover because a lot of people cannot afford to live off their current salaries due to the increase of inflation going on in the economy right now. So just don't be afraid to sit down with your manager or your boss, ask for a raise, let them know why you deserve a raise, and point that out to see, where the conversation goes. Potentially it could be a 90-day review, potentially it can be at the beginning of the year. See what the conversation can be before you just make a rash decision and quit your job because you're being underpaid. Because a lot of people don't think about all the stress levels and the responsibilities that comes with taking on a new job, being that you have to start from scratch, you have to be in training, and you don't know what type of situation you may be getting yourself into. If everything is going all right in your current position and it's just a money issue, try to fix the money issue and stay where you at, because I'm telling you, it is hard to find peace of mind. It is hard to find companies that do not micromanage, especially if you get along really good with your boss and really good with your team. It may be best to just stay where you're at and work on a strategy to get your salary to where it needs to be, or potentially look for a side income, or maybe think about, working for yourself as well, and potentially. I want to say as well, coming in number 3, I want to say request to work from home. Okay. So we see a lot of people who are just tired of working in the office. COVID gave us a taste of freedom. I think that, when people were working from home, people were just like, man, this is what I want to do. This is the life. I'm able to spend more time with my family. I'm able to spend more time with my friends. And now that people are forced to go back into the office, the energy is just not the same anymore. So don't be afraid to sit down with your boss and have that conversation about working remotely and working from home, or potentially, and see where it goes. If it's a no, well, at least the next positions that you need to start to apply to should be remote roles. That's gonna, remote friendly positions. And you can always check out remote.io, or you can type in remote jobs, or, work from home friendly jobs, and just start looking on websites like Indeed, Monster, LinkedIn, and start seeing what's out there at the end of the day. But I've noticed that a lot of people are just tired of the cubicles. They're tired of the office, the ideal of being in a place for 8 to 10 hours a day and watching the sun come up and go down. It's stressful. I understand that. And I understand that freedom, that autonomy. It feels like, it does feel like you're being micromanaged in a sense, being that the fact that, you already prove it to your boss that you can work from home during the last pandemic. And now it's like, well, why do I need to be here? If I was already doing everything I need to do, why do I have to come into an office and do this anymore? So I completely understand what you're going through at the end of the day, okay? Next on my list is conduct a stress audit, okay? So pretty much what I'm trying to tell you is, what is dissatisfying you? What's upsetting you in the job? And that is probably the issue that needs to be addressed as soon as possible. And when you understand like what really upsets you, potentially it could be a colleague, potentially it could be you being micromanaged, because I feel like, so depending on the country, a lot of people are afraid to be honest with their boss and their managers because they're afraid to get fired. And sometimes you may not know that your boss don't want to go through a new hiring process. They don't want to lose you. I think it's this fear of always being let go, but there's also a fear from manager side where they don't want to let you go and they don't want to lose you. It's a stressful process to hire someone else. It's a stressful process to get out here on the market and try to find someone to replace you, to train them up for weeks and weeks and weeks, and then not even know if they're going to stick around, being that, it's just so many changes going on right now. So potentially, what is the issue? Don't be afraid to communicate that with your boss, communicate that with your team or your colleague. If something is stressing you out, you need to address it, and address it fast. Address it. If you're starting a new position, address it early, because you do not want it to build up, and you make a rational decision. You just have a crazy outburst, a crazy exit out of your company, and you're not even able to use them as references anymore at the end of the day. So it's very important that you do that as well. I want to say my next thing on my list was controlling your happiness. So that's extremely important as well. Being in control of your energy, your spirit, your happiness is very important. What we see with a lot of people is they just go to work and they go home and they go to sleep. You have to find something to do before you go into work in the morning, and you have to find something to do after you get off of work as well. Work cannot just be your life. Health is important, and it is extremely important that you work out, you go to the gym, you take a yoga class, you take a boxing, Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu, whatever is going to relieve you from your stress. Try to do it for 1 hour in the morning, and then even after work, have activities. Control your happiness, be in control of your energy and the things that bring you joy. Keep the negative energy away from you. So if it's something at your job, if it's a colleague, if it's a task, or if it's something you don't like, try to get rid of that negative energy. Try to communicate that with your manager or with your teammates and your one-on-ones. If it's something that brings you a lot of negative energy, you have to remove that and control your happiness and be controlled. A job cannot provide you happiness. Money does not bring you happiness at the end of the day. And also, do not be afraid to ask your company to pay for therapy as well. A lot of organizations are paying for mental health sessions with therapists. You are entitled to mental health days. We are starting to see a lot of organizations, implement that into their policies these days. So do not be afraid to take mental health days off. Do not be afraid to see a therapist. Do not be afraid to start doing things that you love that comes before your job. At the end of the day, you have to control the things that brings joy and positive energy, positive reinforcement into your life. More importantly than ever now, being that the economy and everything is going to only continue to bring more stress as it comes. Last but not least, getting support from your colleagues, getting support from your team if you need help. Often I see so many people wear so many hats in the company, and they are too prideful to ask for help. I know I've been that person before, where I was just too prideful to ask for help. And I was just trying to handle it all, and it stressed me out. I almost went bald, losing my hair, lots of gray hair in my beard because I was so stressed and I was so prideful, and I just felt like I had to be the hero. You don't have to be the hero when you're working in an office full of people that is getting paid the same salary as you. You owe no one nothing. You only owe yourself. And it's important that you control your stress levels, your happiness, and not be afraid to ask for help, because you should not be stressing over a job and working all of these hours and missing out on your life at the end of the day, especially if it's not bringing you joy and it's getting you to a point where mentally you don't realize why you're unhappy, that you're going to quit your job because you're the one afraid to speak up and ask for help. So I want you to think about these things. I want you to think about a lot of these topics and subjects that I talked about today before you quit your job, because the economy is just so bad right now. I think a lot of people are just drastically quitting and hoping that it works out. And this is not the time where it may not work like that right now, guys, because it's so bad out here with inflation, with the economy, especially where we're expecting the winter to get even worse. So I want you to think about that. Look, if you like the content, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. If you are looking to have passive income or start a business, I do teach people how to start a recruitment agency. You can check out the links below at nomadrecruiters.com. I do, here on my channel and with my content, there's no Lambos, there's no mansions. All I do is teach you a strategy that shows you how to be free if you're looking for some extra income at the end of the day. I can't wait to see you guys soon. I appreciate you for supporting the channel. Thanks again.